Yeah, we have Professor Ashaolu here. Okay. Um, Also, we have Dr. Mojisola, Adisa. All right, so let's just kickstart now. So I want to welcome everyone to this awesome webinar. It's a meeting that we've all longed for, and we've we've anticipated it so much. And of course, the team has been working so tirelessly. The likes of Dr. Timmy, Scholar Olayemi, and all of them like that. So they've been working just to see that today becomes a reality. And so we're so excited to have everyone on board. And just to start off, we would pray now, and then we just greet. We'll just do some few greetings. So by then I would tell us the format of our intro. All right, so let's pray. So our dear Lord, we appreciate you for today. We bless you for this great privilege to come together to learn again. And we pray, Lord, that everything that you have in mind to teach us through the scholars today, that we pray that you would help us to understand them. And their experience, even through getting scholarship, we pray that it will be replicated even in the lives of people today, that this won't just be a webinar, it will be an experience. And after this webinar, many more people would share that testimony of getting scholarships. We pray for open ears, even for people to pick the right lessons and the right inspirations from their stories and even from their sharing today. Lord, we appreciate you because you will take preeminence, and it will be all of you and none of us. Thank you, Jesus. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So we're starting right now. And so you can introduce yourself in the chat box. Just tell us your name and where you're joining from. Feel free to just write in the chat box that here's my name, or I'm joining from such a place. So we're so happy to have you on board. All right. So I would invite Ian to introduce the scholars. Then I would go ahead and also introduce myself on the chat. Other people can introduce themselves on the chat, but I would invite Ian to introduce the scholars.
Hello everyone, I believe you can all see me. See, please, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you with your headphone.
Oh, great. Yeah, cool. Okay, so hello everyone, I'm super excited to be here. Is it morning or afternoon? Currently it is afternoon here, it is just past 12 here. So I'm happy to be here, and I want to thank the hosts or the organizers of this event for giving me the opportunity to introduce the amiable speakers we have for today. So first of all, let me give you a brief intro of how Brain Conference started. Brain Conference started in 2019 with the goal of helping undergrads, fresh graduates, and graduate students make informed decisions about their personal, academic, and professional development. And yeah, so we've had seminars on finance, on scholarships, on funding opportunities, on personal development, and I trust that, and there have been results really. We've had people with 2-2 getting scholarships. We've had people with 2-1, and we have a host of people who finished with first class also getting top-notch scholarships. So we believe that as many that are also here for this webinar, very soon you'll also be sharing your testimony with us about how you got or get fundings from several universities in the United States or whatever countries. Okay, so without wasting much time, I believe some of us have already seen a sneak peek of the profiles of the scholars, Professor Samuel. Yes, but I'll share my screen because I would not want to talk too much. Yeah. So for those of you who have not had the opportunity to check through the profile of the scholars, Mr. Ashaolu Samuel is currently a master's student at Georgia Southern University in the United States. I believe strongly that you glean a lot from his wisdom, looking at his experience in IoTs, cybersecurity, and all of that. So I would only encourage you all to be free to ask whatever questions you have. No question is too stupid to be asked. And don't be shy. I mean, you can either use the box or be free to unmute yourself to ask your question. So yeah, just like I said, Professor Samuel is a graduate scholar at Georgia Southern University, where he's currently pursuing cyber security. And also for Scholar Mojisola holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Ibadan, where she finished with first class in chemistry. She also happens to be a MasterCard scholar at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. She's currently a master's student at Western Illinois University, USA. Can we just give them a round of applause? I mean, it's not easy to have this profile. Just give them a round of applause. Yeah, so I would now we celebrate you all. So I would hand over to the next person to take charge of the event. Thank you so much, Tri, for the opportunity.
You're welcome. You can just remain on video as we continue. Okay, so I would invite Timmy, Dr. Timmy, come up. Can you still come on? If you can, it's okay, but just invite them in the order that you want them to speak so that they can speak. We dive into the Q&A.
All right. Good evening, everybody, once again. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so right now I'll be inviting Scholar Samuel Ashaolu to give the brief introduction to the discussion this evening. You're welcome on board, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Okay.
There's some feedback from your hand. Okay. Can you try again now?
Okay. All right. Is it fine now?
Yeah, great.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It's a privilege and opportunity to be here. And first of all, I would like to thank the host. Thank you very much for the opportunity and the privilege. I thank my God. I thank my friends. I thank my leaders. I thank my mentors, everyone who has really helped me down the journey and thus far, and still starting, still lots of work to be done ahead. And thank you, everyone. And to everyone online as well, thank you for the privilege and the opportunity. I appreciate you all. So as the host has mentioned, Dr. Timmy, my name is Samuel. I'm a graduate student at Georgia Southern University and into information technology. So very quickly this evening, I'll just be giving us a very brief presentation on exploring opportunities in the United States and like some tips and bits, a lot of stuff you can take note of that will be helpful as you progress in your graduate plan to study in the United States of America. And yeah, so welcome everyone. Thank you very much. Okay.
Yeah, you can continue with your presentation.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So, so we'll just get to it very quickly. And I just want to let everyone know that everyone on the platform this evening, or wherever you are in the part of the world, whatever time you are, this is a time to get value. We're here to give you value, give you the right information and things that can set the ball rolling in your career and in your graduate program as a whole. So I'll just be sharing my screen very quickly as we move on in this. Okay, just a minute. All right, okay. So from the host, I want to confirm, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Good to go. All right, okay. So as I mentioned, there was this day, everyone. I was in church that particular day, and I think we're having a program, ongoing. And somewhere in the corner of my heart, I just had an inspiration from the Lord that was like, Sam, I've given you an opportunity, international opportunity, but if you work it, it's going to work. So from that time on, I began to make, try to make different sorts of information, different platforms from whereby I know I can acquire knowledge and what does it really take for me to move on in this program as a graduate student. So for me, one thing I think that was really key was information. And that's one first thing I'm really going to center upon. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want out of life, the first step and the critical step I think that worked for me, aside the inspiration I got, was information. A friend once told me one time like that, it was like, Sam, information is not only key, information is king. Wherever you are as knowledgeable, you are as useful as the information you have. That's just the key. So this evening, key vital points for each and every one of us is where you can get information, your network, your social group, discussion forums, friends around you. So you're making plans. I know different people online here. Some are from different part of the world. Undergraduate, graduate student, maybe high school, you're out of college, you're planning to move on into various things of your life. The first thing I'll tell you that is key is information. Plug in yourself, plug into your social network, plug in to friends, plug in to platform. And that's the best you can get from everything around you, and begin to walk in that line. As much informed as you are, it kicks the ball rolling. No matter what inspiration you have from God. Oh, God told you you'll be the next billionaire like Elon to build SpaceX or Space 50 or Space 10. If you don't plug into the right environment, the right information gap, you won't get it rolling. And that's one of the key things I just want to emphasize for everyone. Information is key, and it's king across everything you do. Okay. Another thing I'll just be emphasizing for each and every one of us is your personal development. Now, I know the host read a lot of profile from Moji, from Tui, from everyone, but it all culminates into personal development. That's the key. Now, across the screen, you see lots and lots and lots of career platforms where you can plug in Udemy, Coursera, FutureLearn, each and every one. But what you might be asking me, you're asking me, how does this pertain to US exploring the opportunity United States? How does this benefit me? You cannot be knowledgeable. You cannot harness opportunity if you are not valuable. Wherever you are is connected to your being valuable. You know what? One of the billionaire, Warren Buffett, said something. He made mention and said, as a young chap, don't chase money, chase being valuable. So if you are looking to explore graduate opportunities, after you get information, the next thing that is really cogent is optimize yourself, your LinkedIn profile, get all the skills you can grab. Look on YouTube, that's Bridget Ayerson. She's one of the best individuals in building career, building development, building your career and your portfolio. So harness yourself wherever you are from the part of the world. All you need is a good internet connection and a good device for you to just connect and get what you want. That's really important. So the first step is yourself information, and secondly is be valuable. You are valuable to the extent at which you can provide knowledge to. Also, I know there are a lot of folks around there, I'm building it up. We are still going to the opportunities in the US. IT, let me tell you how IT cuts across everyone. you are in business, you are in the medical profession, you're in education. One way or the other, you've done maybe analytics, you've done data gathering, you've done statistics, you've done computation, you've done programming, MATLAB, and the likes. In the United States and across the Western world, as it were, IT must be leveraged in every career you find yourself. You cannot harness opportunities if you are not valuable. So in pursuing graduate opportunities, in becoming that fantastic undergraduate student, in becoming that A student, you want to work with the US government, you want to work in FANG companies, you want to be the best and the brightest. After you've gotten information, you optimize yourself. The next thing is to leverage IT in everything you're doing. So if you're a business person, you've done something IT. Back in college, many of us are from Nigeria here, folks. You've done your final year project, you wrote some algorithm, you wrote some codes, you did some data gathering, you did some quantitative analysis. All those can, if you leverage on that, if you scale them up, you are on your way to becoming a data scientist. You could scale it up to machine learning. You could scale it up to SPSS. You could scale it up to computation. There is no bound in developing that. And that's one thing I want to emphasize for you. Everyone has an unknown IT skill that is untapped to. If you look within, you've done something IT. Leverage on that and you can build up on that flow. All right. So yeah, this is just an icebreaker. How many of us want to Jackpot? You know what they call it now. You say you want to Jackpot. When you say you Jackpot from everywhere. This is the United. Let me ask anyone. I don't know who knows where this building is. Who knows this building? Have you seen this building before? Who knows where this particular building is? I don't know. Anyone could drop it in the chat box, and we'll just pin across that. So everyone, yeah. The important thing is this: in the little time I've spent in the United States, someone who is in Nigeria, who is an undergraduate student, let's say University of Ilorin, 300 level students, and another person in the United States who is an undergraduate student or a graduate student, you are not better than anyone in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Hungary, in Europe. You are as better as how much you can leverage the opportunities you have and plug in yourself into the system. When I got here, you have to understand something, that you don't think like a US citizen. There's a way a US citizen thinks. There is a way an international student thinks. You have to leverage across every border. It's not all about just, yeah, you want to move out. Yeah, move out to what? To become what? To do what? And that's really just the deal. So that's just the US embassy in Abuja. If you have a US visa, then you must have been in that building. I think that's one of the first steps to Jackpot. That's what they call it. So, but in that sense, it's very important. So that's really critical. Now, to the opportunity part of it. Now, this seminar is by the host is aimed at pointing you towards value. And I want to make mention of this. Every image, every link you see on this slide has an embedded hot links. The URL is there. So if you click on any image on this slide, it's going to be shared later on. It takes you straight to what I'm telling you. So the Nairaland, whatever you see here across the slides, I try to embed the URL so you get everything, just the value. Now, US opportunities. How do you explore those opportunities? It's just in one statement, I think, could craft it better. Upgrade your value, expand your opportunities. Upgrade your value, you expand your opportunities. How do you start? If you see the build-up of my presentation, I told you about information. I told you about what? I told you about networking. I told you about being in the right environment. I told you about optimizing your value. Now, these opportunities are available across all this. If you can take your time across the world, wherever you are, webinars, events, around this, you get the best information you need regarding the US opportunities as a whole. From the United States Department of State to Grad USA, rankings, a whole lot that you can get. And that's what we're here to give you as well. So that being said, more opportunities. So if you're in the United States of America, what are those opportunities that are really, that are really up for grab for you? Other things you can get to see, you can get to know. Now, those little segments I put by my slide also has the links that can take you there and get the best information. Now, opportunities around, so far I've been a graduate student. I've been privileged as well to attend some couple of conferences, even outside Georgia as a state, gain workful experience. So if you as well become a graduate student or an undergraduate, you can become an RA, a research assistant, a teaching assistant, you work with professors, you become a whole part of a global community. You have friends. As I speak with you right now, I'm privileged to have friends in almost all continents of the world. I have friends in Taiwan, in Hong Kong, in the US, in California, in Asia, in the Middle West, a lot of friends. That's one of the privilege of the opportunities you get schooling in the US, as well as other European countries as well as other part of the world that you can get. So you build strategic friendships. You get to use a ton of software, tools in academia. Right now on my university platform, you have a lot of Linux scripting, programming languages available, software tools that are not really much available where I'm from. I'm from Nigeria, Osun State, Osogbo to be precise. I have lots of friends. I see them online. Hello to them and things like that. So other opportunities as well. You have the privilege to work in prestigious environment, fan companies like Facebook, Apple, Alphabet, Netflix, Google, consulting companies, the big four, like EY, PwC, KPMG, BUC, Boston Group, and a whole sort of them. These are the opportunities that graduate school in the United States can offer you. And also you have the privilege to be around top-minded people, individuals. Right now we heard that maybe Elon SpaceX, they are building this, they are building that. Those are the kind of things you get close to. And finally as well, you are advanced to expose to the latest technology available to everyone. And the list is endless. It goes on and on. There are a lot of opportunities attached. And also, what are the requirements? Okay, you have the information, you are well informed, you have optimized your CV, you have optimized everything. You are looking good. What do you need? Obviously, you want to travel, you need a passport. Obviously, you need a resume, a well-updated one. Somebody can reach out to you on phone and say, oh, Sam, I saw something, I want to travel. Do you have a passport? No, I don't. That's weird. That's really weird. How are you going to travel? How are you going to get things done? So the main fundamental things, after you develop yourself, you plug in yourself in the right environment. By the way, the picture at the background, that's our Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, that's the ambassador to the US from Nigeria. So I think I kind of put them there to appreciate their country. Recently, an agreement was signed between the US and Nigeria for cultural heritage and development. So that's a good kudos. We have a lot of things going on back home, but there are developments ongoing as well. So your transcript, the bachelor's, reference letter from your professor, graduate test, IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, a research focus for master's or PhD level, and reaching out to graduate coordinators. There is nothing stopping you from going online, Googling a school you find, seeing something you like, and you reach out. Hi, hello, I'm inquiring about this program. What are the fundings involved? What are the pathways involved? I gave you a list of different kind of environment, Graduate USA, a lot of them that you can get across to. And finally as well, okay, I put a hot link there for you as well. If you're looking at maybe different passports, visas, different things involved, that link can get that across to you as well. And finally, before I wrap up my presentation, I know it was really quick, but you can get the slides, the audios. I know I have the permission of the host. It's going to be streamed on YouTube later on, so everyone can take time and also look. So that is Samuel. Those are my God-given opportunities. And I'm reaching out to everyone on this platform. Why not you? It should be you. You can do it. The giftings, the talent, the opportunity, the God-given abilities that God has given you is very possible. You need the right information. You need to be valuable. When you speak in front of a recruiter, when you sit in front of a manager, when you talk in front of a professor, they are not interested in what your name is, where you are from, or whatever you have. They want to hear value. And value starts from information gathering. It starts from optimizing yourself. it starts from plugging in yourself into the right environment, and also it starts from, you know, connecting with the right people, and which is very important. So at this point, I will just I want to show us something very quickly in 1 minute before I say thank you for listening. And let me see if I can just run across that. Okay. Regarding the information gathering, this is the website. I don't know, Post, can you see my screen for Education USA? I'll just drop this in a minute. Okay, can you see my screen? Or is the
No, we
slide
can't
still
see
showing?
your screen.
No.
Okay,
The
you
slide
can't
is
see
still
it, right?
showing. Yeah.
Okay, my slide is still showing. So let me just share this. I didn't just want to leave here without not sharing this one. Okay, all right, let me share this. Now, everyone, these three websites are really core websites. USA, Education USA, Department of State websites, and you also have this third one, you have the Fulbright page. Now, this one as well, find an event. Wherever you are part of the world, you click this link, there are host of webinars. Diplomats in the United States, visa consulars, they come on those platforms, they'll tell you a whole lot of information. Hook up on a Zoom meeting, link up to them, and you will get the right information as well. This page as well, if you click the connect link, I have the hot link on my page on the slide, so you can get everything from there. These are a whole host of events. Diplomats, residents, consulars, ambassadors, they come on this platform, they talk, and you can get the best as well. And finally, the Fulbright platform. If you click this as well, I have a hot link on my slide as well. All these as well, hook up on webinars. Webinars are the way. You get the best, you plug in right, and in the end, you become that scholar you want to be. And I'll round off with that note. And I'll also thank the hosts. Thank you for inviting me as well. Thank you for the opportunity. And I hope in no time we see everyone soaring and become the best version of themselves. Thank you very much, and to your success. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. I believe that we all have gotten, or let me say gulped, gulped in so much information already. Okay, this is not the end of it. We still have a question and answer session. So we want you to drop your questions on the chat box, okay, while we invite our second speaker, Scholar Mojisola Adisa. You're welcome on board, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this privilege to speak with you guys and to share the little I have. And thank you so much, Scholar Samuel. You really set the ball rolling for me. Again, I'm Mojisola. I'm a graduate student Western Illinois University. Currently running a program in chemistry. I'm just going to go straight to what I have for today. Scholar Samuel has already given us like the very important things we need. Information is key. I myself have gotten quite a lot of information from his own session. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. And can you see my screen?
It's coming up. Yeah, great. Up now.
Okay. So I'm just going to be going straight to what you need to study in the US, what you need to have in your application and the likes. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is graduate exams needed to study in the US. Now, basically, we have two exams. We have the GRE, which is the graduate record examination, and we have the English proficiency examinations, which could either be the TOEFL or the IELTS. Now for the English proficiency exam, some schools do not require that for Nigerians, but it's actually still a good thing for you to write the exams. It sets you apart from the other people who have applied to the school. And then we have the TOEFL. The TOEFL is the most recognized exam in the US. Almost all schools will require that and are satisfied with that. For IELTS, not all schools will accept that. And but if you are a student here and you probably are considering the US and some other European countries or Canada, IELTS might be the best exam for you, because you can make use of this exam in the US and other countries you might be trying to get to study in. But if you are focused on the US, then I think TOEFL is the best shot for you. Here I have the scores. TOEFL is usually over 120, while IELTS is usually a band of 8. The maximum you can have is a band of 8. Different schools have their different requirements. I'm going to go into that later. And you can study for these exams yourself. You can register for these exams yourself. You don't need any third party or whatsoever. You can do these things yourself and get your result and use it for whatever you want to use it for. But if you do not want to do it yourself, you can also consult with third parties, organizations that can help you. And also you can study yourself. I'll say a minimum of 3 months and you're good to go. We speak English. We've been speaking English since we probably were born and all. So you're good with this. Next is the GRE. That's probably the most difficult exam for us when we are trying to study in the US. So here I say GRE is a moderately difficult standardized exam. Moderately difficult. Now, the difficulty with GRE is it's not really about the questions being difficult. It's actually about knowing how to tackle the questions, being stable enough, being patient enough to go through the study period and all. Now, this exam doesn't just test our intelligence. That's one thing I found out when I was studying for this exam. It's not a matter of your intelligence. You can be so intelligent and sit for this exam and you're going to be shocked at what it will do to you. So it's not about intelligence. It's just a whole lot of things. And due to her background and the way we've been taught and all in Nigeria, it makes it more difficult. That's just one thing about the exam. The way we learn things, the way we grasp things and all makes this exam just what it is. So the key to GRE is prepare early and prepare intensely. That's very important. The more time you have preparing for GRE, the better your score. The less time you prepare for GRE, the lower your score. So prepare hard, prepare for a very long time, except if you're a genius. Anyways, if you're a genius, I think you'll be fine. But if not, if you're actually the type that you need to study and you take your time to understand things, I say prepare early and prepare intensely. Now, don't just prepare on your own. Make sure you have a study partner or people of like minds also preparing for the exam, or people who have prepared in the past. They can give you clues and all. Don't try to prepare for GRE on your own. You'll be dumbfounded by the time you write the exam and you see your score. Don't try to prepare for the exam by yourself on your own. GRE tests 3 major things: the quantitative, verbal, and the analytical writing. Here I have the scores. So the minimum you can have is 130. So even if you do not get any answer right in GRE, you're going to have 130. Whether you get everything wrong, you're going to have 130 for quantitative. For verbal, if you get everything wrong, you still have your 130. You have your 130 waiting for you there, even if you did not do any of the questions correctly. So you'll be deceived to think that you actually got 260 at the end of the day. So that's that for GRE, yeah. And I have a few tips that would help when preparing for GRE. Expand your vocabulary. Vocabulary is very important for the verbal aspect of GRE. Expand your vocabulary. Learn new words daily. We don't have so much vocabulary. A typical Nigerian student doesn't have a lot. We don't have, the English we speak is basically basic. We don't have enough. Make sure you expand your vocabulary. Some of the useful resources I have here, the Magoosh app. Some of these things you can learn even while going around your daily activities. Pick a word, learn what it means, use it in sentences and all. Master the tricks in solving questions. That's what I said earlier. It's not about the difficulty of the GRE questions. They are just tricky questions that you need to know exactly how to go about it. Identify your weak spot. Now, when you start to prepare for GRE, you're going to find out that you're performing poorly in some aspects. Work on those aspects. Work on them. Spend more time on those aspects to get better. Also, read challenging texts. Now, the first GRE test I wrote just to test what it looks like, I couldn't even understand the comprehension. I didn't know what was going on there. Not that I couldn't understand English or something, but I just couldn't understand what was going on in the comprehension. So you need to read challenging text, journal articles and all. Also use the Power Prep to practice the analytical writing. I'm going to give you useful links for GRE preparation. I have 3 links here, but these 3 links can link you to other things you need. The first link I have here, the GRE Prep Club, is like a link to a whole lot of information and materials you need to prepare for GRE. And I will tell you this, you might have heard it before, GRE is difficult and you can do it. All it takes is early preparation, intense preparation. Also, when preparing for GRE, there are a couple of things you need to put into consideration also. I'm going to talk about those things later. I guess I'll talk about them before I talk about effective way to contact professors. Now, you want to be sure that you have enough space between when you start to prepare for your GRE and when you actually want to put in your application. Make sure you have enough space. And I'll say like a year. Yes, a year, so that you have enough time to prepare. If you need to rewrite the exam again, you have enough time to do that. I'll say a year if you really want to make use of the GRE in your application. Now, these exams are not compulsory. They are not compulsory, but to be on the safer side and to be more intentional and to set yourself apart from the pool of candidates that will also be applying to the school, it makes it better. So effective way to contact professors, like Scholar Samuel mentioned in one of his slides, if you noticed, contact the graduate coordinator. Contact them. There's no harm in contacting them. Send an email, shoot your email to them and all. So there's an effective way to contact professors. You don't just write random emails to them. These people receive emails back to back daily. Once they see anything that doesn't look like what they will open. They just trash the email. They don't even open it at all. Now, before you contact a professor, before you say anything whatsoever to them, gather enough information about the program, gather enough information about the professor. Make sure you have an interest in the research he or she is doing. Make sure you have an interest. If you don't have an interest, please don't bother contacting them. They can tell when you send your email, and they can tell if you actually have an interest, if you're good to go with them or not. They can tell. Yeah, so study the lab websites. Most times, a lot of them have their website for their research group. Study it, comb through everything there. Read every single thing you see there. Read one or two of their journals. Yeah, it's very important that you do that. It might not make sense, but do so. Whatsoever you can gather from the publication, just take note of that. And then the first impression matters. The first impression you send to these guys really matters. Now, if you send your first email and you probably did it wrong, most likely your email is going to be sent to the spam. And subsequent ones that you send that are actually very meaningful and all, they don't get to see it, and that's all. So first impression matters. Avoid unserious emails. Yeah, I have a very funny email ID, sugarbunny101@gmail.com. Please don't use that. Make use of a proper professional email. Always include their titles, doctor or professor. Now, even if you are not sure if the person is a professor or a doctor, please just dash it to them. No one is going to get angry when you call them doctor or professor. They won't get angry. Just give it to them. Now, because we might not be able to differentiate between the first and the last name sometimes. If you cannot differentiate, just make use of their full names, because it doesn't really sound nice. It doesn't sound professional enough for you to say doctor and put the first name. Preferably use the last name. If you can't tell which is the last name, please just put in all the names there. Dr. blah, 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 blah. Just put it. Make sure you spell their names correctly. Now, I have made that mistake before. I sent an email and I don't know what I was thinking. The best thing I could have done was to copy and paste the name, but I tried to spell the name myself and I made a mistake. Fortunately, I got a response, and it was after I got the response I realized I actually spelled the name wrongly, and I was so ashamed of myself. So you don't want to spell the names wrongly. Make sure you spell their names correctly. Sometimes they won't reply if you spell the name wrongly, because it means that you're not even paying attention. So how can you come here for a graduate study if you cannot even pay attention to a name? Something like that. So make sure you spell the name correctly. Use a very clear and concise subject line. Something simple. Inquiry about graduate study in blah, blah, blah. That's enough. That's good enough. Don't make it complicated. And make your emails as brief as possible. Avoid long emails. They don't have time to read long emails. They don't have time for that. Now to the content of the email, a brief introduction. Now, what would you say if you had 10 seconds in person with this professor or researcher? What would you say about yourself in 10 seconds? That's enough. Make sure you say the important things, of course, the important things about yourself. What will make this person attracted and want to speak to you again in 10 seconds? Now, I like some of the projects and researches you might have done. Everyone has done something somewhere. It might look minute and all, whatever you have done, just pack it up with good English and write what you have done. Relate it in one way or another to their research. It might not have a deep correlation and all, but just a little connection you can tell. Just highlight it, give a summary of what you understand the person to be doing. That's the essence of reading one of their publications. Give a summary of what you understand them to be doing and state your interests. I'd like to work with you on blah, 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 blah. Would you be accepting students for this session? And how? Then hit the send button. Now, before you hit the send button, take your time to go through your email. Be sure that it's free of any form of grammatical error. Now, do not expect a response to all of your emails. Don't expect a response to all of your emails, but it's worth trying. And don't feel bad for not getting a response. It could be a lot of things. Either the person is no longer active, sometimes that happens, or the person is away, or the person is just so busy, or the person is not accepting students now, and they don't have time to answer you and say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not taking students for this time. It could be that. Now, diligently searching for schools. Now, the two things I already spoke about, really, before you do those things, you need to search for schools. You need to search for schools first before you do these things. Before you write the GRE, you need to search for schools. Before you contact anyone, you need to search for schools. And searching for school can be very tedious. It can be very tiring because we have probably over 300 schools here in the US that you can apply to. It can be very tiring. So you need to search for schools strategically. There are different ways to go about it. Google is a very good channel to make use of. You can search for a program of interest using Google. For instance, you can search chemistry PhD program in the US. That gives you a whole load of search results. You can also do chemistry graduate program in the US. Also, probably that will give you the same search results. You can search by state. Perhaps you have a family or friends in a particular state and you don't want to be far away from them. You can just search using the state. Chemistry graduate program in Utah, for instance. That gives you the search results. Also, you can search by the research areas. If you have a particular interest in a particular research area, for instance, proteomics and metabolomics, you can just search PhD research in that, and you have what you need. Also, LinkedIn is another powerful platform to utilize. Like Scholar Samuel mentioned, update your profile, make use of the social platforms that we have. LinkedIn is one very powerful and intimidating platform, but it's a very powerful platform. Now, use it for what you need it for and leave other things for the other people. Now, for instance, if you have a LinkedIn profile, now, if you search something like PhD chemistry, University of any state you can think of, PhD chemistry, think of any university of blah blah blah. Here I have University of Missouri, and put comma Nigeria. That gives you a list of students in that school that are from Nigeria. That comes up first. So that's also a very way to search for schools. Now, why do you want to search for schools making use of Nigeria at the back? I'm not sure you want to go to a school where you won't see any Nigerian. I'm not sure that exists in the first instance, but you want to be sure, or you want to be really, really sure that in your department you have at least someone that you can relate with. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, of course. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you want to be sure.
Yes, we can.
You might not. Okay, sometimes you might not have anyone in your department, but you want to be really sure. That's just the point. You want to be really sure that you're not going to be on your own totally in that school. So LinkedIn is a very good place to make use of. Now, after making use of this Google and LinkedIn, you're going to have quite a number of schools. You're going to have quite a number of schools, a whole lot of schools that you might want to apply to. Now you need to start trimming down where you want to apply to and where you're not going to apply to. Now, to trim down the number of schools based on different criteria that you might have, make sure you match yourself to the school. Check the active research areas. Does any of the research area pique your interest? If not, then cancel out the school. If yes, then you can proceed further. Check the requirements, the GPA. Did they require the English exam? Like I said earlier, it's not always compulsory that you submit these exams. It might just be advisable to do so. So if a school tells you that it's compulsory to submit the TOEFL, for instance, then you need to write TOEFL exam. If a school tells you need to submit the GRE compulsorily, then you need to write it. If it doesn't say so, then you might not need to. But again, most likely they will tell you that if you choose to. So if you choose to, you write it. Now, another thing is your official transcript. Some schools will require an official transcript. What do I mean by an official transcript? A transcript that you send from your school, not from you. Your school sends from themselves to them. It doesn't go through you at all. It's enveloped, it's sealed, and it goes straight to the school. That is what they call an official transcript. Some schools will require that. Some schools will require that you evaluate your transcript. Some schools will require you not to do that. Some schools are okay with you submitting your personal transcript for the application period. Then when you get admission, you need to send an official copy. Now, it all depends on you. If you have the finances to do the evaluation, if you can afford to send the official transcript, because the official transcripts usually are Nigerian universities. Before you can get your transcript out of them, from them, is always a tug of war. You have to give somebody money before you get your own transcript out of the school. So it depends on you. So you might want to cancel out schools that request for official transcripts if you don't want to do that. Because if you need to apply to 6 schools, for instance, and all 6 schools request for official transcripts, and let's say you need to spend about 60,000 for the transcript to get to them, you can imagine how much that costs for you to do that. So you might want to cancel out schools that request official transcripts, except you are very, very sure. You get to the point that you are very sure you've spoken to a professor there, you are very sure that something is going to come out of this school, then you might want to do that. But if you are not even sure, you are not sure at all, then you might not want to do that to cut down the expenses and all. You might not even want to do that. Look for schools that do not request that. Now there's also the evaluation, the WEST evaluation. Sometimes some schools want you to do the WEST evaluation. That is even more expensive. You might want to cancel out schools that require that also. So these are ways that you can trim down the number of schools that you want to apply to. Also the finances, which is also part of what I've mentioned. Can you afford the application fee? Some schools can waive the application fee for you. Some schools, no, you have to pay the application fee. So you might want to consider that also. If you really, really, really cannot afford it, you can ask them. Ask early. You need to ask early. You can't ask when the application window is almost closed. They probably won't answer you because they already have enough at their table. So why should they give you a free waiver? So if you cannot afford the application fee, you might want to consider dropping the school, or you might want to send an email to request for a waiver. Also, finally, the most important thing actually, the available funds for the program. So most PhD most PhD programs are fully funded in the US, virtually all. So that's what we call the scholarship. Actually, the funds available. That's actually what we call the scholarship. So most PhD programs are fully funded in US, and we have limited funds for master's program. So before investing your time into the application process and all, you want to be sure of that first. If you are going for a master's program, you want to be sure that you're not going to be stranded, you're going to have funds available for you. For PhD program, you're most certain that you're going to get something from them. And one thing also, for PhD program, even if it's just a first degree you have, for instance, I had my first degree in chemistry. I could have gone for a PhD in chemistry straight away if I wanted to. You can do that. You don't have to do a master's first in the US. So you can get a PhD, you can get admitted into a PhD program with just your bachelor's in Greek, your bachelor's in chemistry, in physics, in mathematics, in engineering. You can get into a PhD program. You don't need a master's program to get into a PhD program in the US. And like I said, most PhD programs are fully funded in the US. And then also reach out to the graduate coordinator. Now, before you ask about the available funds and all, make sure you establish an interest in the program. You don't want to just reach out and say, oh, hi, do you guys fund your students when they come for? You don't want to do that. First of all, show an interest. Probably the second email, then you can ask about that. And here I have a few useful links for searching for graduate programs. Like I said, it can be very tedious looking for schools in the US. It can be very tedious. You might not know which is right for you at all. When looking for schools also, we have something called the rankings. Now, for instance, I would advise that you apply to, let's say, 5-6 schools. Some people do 8, 10, and all. But I would say 5-6. Now, you don't want to apply to just top-ranked schools. You don't want to do that to yourself. You'll be shooting yourself in the foot, because by the time their decisions come, they will all say the same, because they all fall into the same category. So you want to spread your net. Go for schools that are highly ranked. Go for schools that are in the middle. And go for the schools that are at the bottom also. While doing that, you are taking into consideration these things I have here: the research area, requirements, finances, and all, everything, while picking the school. So pick schools at the top there, pick schools at the middle, pick schools at the bottom. When you are picking these schools, of course, they must have money for you. If they don't have money for you, there's no point picking these schools, except you want to pay them yourself. If not, you make sure that they have the funds you need and all. And then one other thing I need to mention before I round up: when submitting your application, usually schools will ask you for personal statement, motivation letter, and all. Now, the more motivation letters, the more personal statements you write, the better it becomes. Usually the first one you write is usually very sketchy and a little bit not too good. So the more you write, the better. I guess that's where I'm going to be stopping. I'm going to share the slides later with you guys to access the links that are there. I'm going to hand over now to the...
All right, thank you
so
much. We appreciate that sharing. That was powerful. Okay, so I want to appreciate the speakers, Samuel, Mojisola, for this awesome presentation. We could see that it's boiling inside there. They could say more, but then the time is kind of limited to share all that you want to talk about. And of course, we have a community that, like I've shared on the link, we have a Telegram group, so you could join. Aside Moji and Sam, they're on the group. I myself am there on the group. Iyanu that spoke earlier is a serious scholar. So he has one common word, PTDF. He's currently in UC Davis as well. So we have many other scholars on the platform, people in the US, people in different part of the world, people in Europe, where I was coming from as well. So we have a lot of them there. So you have a lot of people to learn from, like Sam already told us. So there are people to learn from on that platform. So feel free to join the Telegram group. Then I should say that there are some people that their names that are appearing more than once because probably you used the link of someone who registered. So if you use a particular link that someone shared with you, their names would be what would have here. So it's better you check now if you are using your name to connect so that we can have an accurate record of who actually joined the meeting or not. So just be sure that your name is actually what you're logging on with so that you can adjust that. Because I could see that Olayemi is having more than one name here. And probably share the link with a couple of people. And we have several other people like that, Samuel Adewe, Taiwo Luadare, so that they have a copy because probably they shared the link. When you share the link, so people would log on with your own name because Zoom actually generates it generates a link that is unique to you. So that when you log on, you will log on with a name that you registered with. So that's actually what happened. All right, so we'll be delving into the question and answer now. And Peter, if you are connected, just signify so that I can make you co-host. All right, so I think I made Emmanuel co-host already. All right, so I'm going to invite Temina and Emmanuel to ask them the questions that the audience already have. And if you have questions, just signify you're free, we would unmute you, you would ask your question. And if you want to write it on the box, like the chat box, feel free to also write on the chat box. Either way, it's okay. Raise up your hand if you have a question, we would unmute you and you would ask your question. Okay, some people are already doing that. So I'm going to start with Oluwaseun. So you can unmute Oluwaseun Adele.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Zamar, for this privilege. My question is this. I wouldn't know if we can actually get a list of universities, institutions where we can apply to that require English proficiency tests and those that does not require English proficiency tests, so that we can actually use that as basis of check and balance. That's my simple question, sir. Thank you.
Right. Any of you can answer the question?
Well, okay. I'm not sure there is. I haven't come across any such document that has that. But what I have come across is a list of schools that doesn't require GRE. I've come across that before. So I'll try to look for that and share it on probably on the Telegram group. I'll look for that. But usually you have to do that work yourself. Because we have lots of schools in the US. I'm not sure anyone is going to sit down and come up with a list of schools that doesn't require English proficiency exam. And more so, schools change their requirements every year. Sometimes they change their requirements. So even if they say this year that we don't need the English proficiency exam, next year they can come up and say we need it. Now someone has to update if there's such lists. So you have to actually check the website yourself. That is one of the things you need to do. Be sure yourself. Don't depend on, even if there's a list like that, I think you still have to make sure you check yourself to be up to date with the current admission requirement.
All right, thank you for that. Of course, there are a host of such on LinkedIn several times so people can share such links. So that's why you should be on LinkedIn if you are not there tonight. You should try to register tonight and just find your way there. Also on the Telegram group, if we see such, we kind of share opportunities also on our Telegram group. So If you are not on the Telegram group as well, feel free to join. I know that Ola and me usually share things like that on the group. Then I'm going to ask Emmanuel to unmute now. Emmanuel Joe. Then he will ask his question.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Sure, we can.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Okay, I have a few questions I would like to ask. The first is about English proficiency test. For some of us that graduated from schools where our medium of instruction is in English, I want to ask, can it replace the English proficiency exams? All right, that's the first. And my second question is, when we are writing professors, are we supposed to send our GRE scores also alongside? Say, okay, I got.
Okay, Sam, you can share on that. You can answer him.
All right, thank you, Emmanuel. I think his first question, if I get it right, talked about like do you need the English proficiency, IELTS, TOEFL, stuff like that. I think the best way to put it is that it differs from school to school, university. So just taking reference from what Professor Moji said the other time, she talked about contacting those schools and reaching out to them. So what you need to do, Emmanuel, is that you just have to do your due diligence. So for example, my school, the first time I reached out to them, I was like, okay, my name is this, that, gave a brief introduction. They were like, okay, it was during the COVID pandemic lockdown, that was 2020. So they were like, okay, test centers were closed, TOEFL centers were closed, GRE in Lagos, VI, everywhere, Island were all closed. So during that time, they were kind of like accepting what your school had. Maybe your school just right from the provost office, instruction was in English, and they were accepting that. So right now, you just have to work closely with the school, see their requirements, see what they want, and sometimes don't be carried away by every requirement you see on the page. Oh, GRE, 5,000, this one, this, that. Email those graduate coordinators, ask them those questions. This is what I have, this is what I need, this is what, it will clarify things. Oh, okay, this is acceptable. If you have, some will tell you have 2 years experience in IT, we can waive this GRE. You have 2-3 years working experience, we can waive that. So work closely with the school, see their requirements, and some school will accept what is coming from your school, while some will require you to still get those English tests ready. And I think a second question as well, I'm sorry, I think it's slipping off my mind. What was the second question again?
Yeah, it's about writing,
okay.
Professor. Do you need to include that you already had this kind of score in the area now?
Okay, all right. I think I'll still take it from what Professor Moji said the other time when she was talking about reaching out to those professors, brief and content. Now, you see the way the professors work. Some have their labs, they have their research ongoing. Now, she talked about LinkedIn, resume, and all those things. If you Google some schools, for example, I Google Georgian University, the drop-down box, the form, they always have this search tab. You type faculty directories in IT departments. It gives you a drop list of all the professors in that department. Now, when you click their names, it gives you a drop-down of their resume. Some will give you an extended URL link to their LinkedIn profile, to their research, to their lab. So when you see what they are doing, now try to see what they are doing, that you have some minor little skills in. It could be MATLAB, it could be Arduino, it could be Linux scripting, it could be backend programming, it could be software, it could be network infrastructure, whatever they have. Now, when you communicate to them, communicate the value of what you can do relative to what they are researching. It carries more weight. So you tell them, my name is XYZ Emmanuel. I can do this. I had a year experience in working in database infrastructure. I can do this, I can do that. I did my college research in this, and this is what I can do. And this is what I have done. And these are the tools I've used. Now, if you communicate that to any professor, I can almost bet in a brief and concise way, they will reach out to you. So some of them, they just want that maybe GRE score. I think most professors, they are more interested in the tools, the skills you can offer them in working with them. So that's what they're much emphasized on. You could include your GRE. It could be like an auxiliary information to that, but more importantly, communicate how well you can help this man in doing what he's doing, and the skills you have, the experience you have, align it to that, and you have a better chance with that. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Great. You should put in things that are your strength first. You finish with a first class, you've done this. That, for example, when I was going to apply, I got to offer one in Georgia and one in Iowa State, where I'm currently. Like the one at Georgia, the professor I reached out to, I didn't need to include my GRE. And the school actually did require GRE. And of course, he responded. So it was when he said he was going to take me up that I needed to go write GRE, because I knew at that point I needed to write GRE. So you don't need to, but make sure you are communicating your strength. And of course, we will definitely share with you some of our letters, emails that we've sent to professors. I've shared with some people in the past. I will still share on the group. I know that Sam and Mojisola will be willing to share maybe their previous mails to professor on the Telegram page as well. And other people other people will share as well. So you can also learn from what people have shared in the past. Okay, I think Temitope Oyaromade, I'm going to unmute you now.
Thank you very much for. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you faintly, but then just go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, concerning the GRE and the explanation she gave, I wanted to get something. She said we can't study for it personally, like unlike TOEFL and the others that we can easily use the internet to learn from. So I was like, if we can't study it personally, either we find like a teacher or a place or a location where they teach it properly. And I wanted to ask, where can I find the places and what do they, how to just grade us? That's it.
Okay, so what I said, you shouldn't study on your own. Now, you might not be able to gauge yourself properly if you're studying on your own. So I'm saying that you should look for people that fall in the same category with you, also preparing for GRE, so you guys can relate with each other and know your strengths, share tips, helping each other and things like that. And also, if you need to, if you feel that the materials that you have, I'm going to share the slide that has the materials you need to study. If you feel you cannot do it on your own, then you might need to go to like a center where you have to be taught. If you cannot do it on your own and with friends and study on your own, that kind of thing. If you need a tutor, now there's a difference between getting a tutor and having study partners. They're two different things entirely. So if you need to get a tutor, then do so. But if you don't need to get a tutor, you can study on your own, but make sure you have partners that are also studying for the exam, or people that are studying in the past and can give you some guides. Because like I said, GRE is not a test of intelligence. It's not a test of intelligence at all. So I don't know if that's
true. That's true. For me, when I was preparing, I was on a Telegram group that is dedicated for that as well. So just feel free to get help, because it's a lot of work. All right. Uluamwe, I'm going to unmute you.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, my name is Ilinois. Yeah, sorry, I actually didn't start the meeting with you guys though. But then there's been this question that I've always been holding in mind for a while, because I was able to meet with some guys that have actually done this and they actually are over there. So they talked about something called personal statement. And they were like, there's a kind of way you write the way you write personal statement differs depending on the particular university you actually intend to, go into. So I would like you to talk on writing a personal statement, sir.
I'll say Sam should answer that question. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, Olumiwa, thank you for your question. I appreciate. Okay. I know Scholar Moji delved deep a bit into that during our presentation, but this is what I will say. With the little experience I have with personal statement, writing essays, there is no hard and fast rule. It's not cast on stone. There is no a fixed blueprint of how you must write it. Nonetheless, it should have some components. So you could be so flowery with words. Some people are awesome in writing. They could wake up in the night, tack their laptop 2 hours. They can write a top-notch essay in 2 hours, and it's crisp, it's clean and chic, good to go. So, but all I'll say is there's no hard and fast rule, but in writing a statement of purpose or letter of intent or whatever it's being called across, at least all this should follow your passion. Now, you want to study chemistry or what you want to study. What brought about that? You see, let me take a back foot again on that. When I said passion, one thing I understand is that the whites in general, US across, there's a way they think, and there's a way Nigerians we think. Nigerians, we know ourselves. We know the way we think, the way we process things. White love, when you write something, it's born out of a passion, like a story, a flow. It could be that your cat got injured, by the way, and you wanted to develop an idea that cures the legs of cats. They will love you. They will love you for bringing the idea. Maybe you had a dog and your dog is Jay, and your dog hit his head on the wall, and you developed a mainframe system that could provide, oh, wow, that's lovely. We love that. You are good to go. They will love your story. But back and forth. So how they think is that, what's your passion? What is it born out of? Okay, you want to study this. Give them a passion flow. Then you could couple it up as well with your experience. Maybe you have a work experience backing that up. You could use that as well to flesh it up. Other things you could do as well is on a long-term basis. Think long-term, short-term. Now, I want to study chemistry. I had a passion back in secondary school, a college. Maybe I was mixing a chemical, something happened, and that burned that passion. Now, on the short-term and on the long-term role, how will this degree profit yourself and profit your society? And how will this school help you to get that? So you want to study chemistry, you have a passion. Now you have the passion. Now you have, okay, I've been working in this company. I was working with Super Rights. It's a chemical company in Lagos. That's what I was working with. I've done this, I've done that. Now, I want to be this for myself. I want to be this for my community on the long-term goal. Now, connect it with the experience. Now, how can this school help you in getting that? And how can you step up from that? So I think basically your passion, maybe background experience, some things about the school, how this degree will help you on the long run, and how it will help your family and society around you. And as well, another thing you could add as well, if you have a personal area. For example, when I was coming in, I'm more into network security, cyber security. I wanted to do research around security information, network infrastructure. I had that intent. You could put it there as well. Okay, I have this experience mixed with that. This is what I want to research upon. And this is my passion. This is how it will help me. And this is how it's going to help my future. And these are my future plans. If you have all those in your statement of purpose, not cast on stone, tell your story, make it your own. Own it. Don't dub from Google. You just go to Google, Harvard, just go, they know when it is. Own it. Own your own story. Own your story and tell it in that framework. I guess you are good to go, no matter what it is. Yeah. Thank you, Lumiwa.
Okay, just to buttress that,
okay.
For each of your applications, there would be the essay prompts or maybe the personal statement prompts. They would tell you, okay, this is 500 words, personal statements. You should talk about your background. Sometimes they list those things. Over time, when I kind of help people review their personal statements, the first thing I always want to check is the prompt. I see sometimes people write things that are divergent to the prompts the school actually requires or the scholarship. So that way you won't help yourself. Make sure you are writing, just tailor your story down to the prompt of the personal statement as well. And I believe that Scholar Moji and Scholar Sam, they'll be more than willing to also help you review your personal statement and motivation letter if you need that, because they have that vast experience and they would be able to help you check. And other scholars too. Yanu has been doing that, and I know that you always want to do that. I can do it as well. So many other people, because when you are applying for scholarship, when I was applying for my scholarship as well, my friend Yanu had to help me review mine. So it could be your friend, anybody, just other people that I know also reviewed my personal statements. So that way it was just because it has gone through different people. So that way they will be, because you won't see the mistakes yourself. So let's just have Toby back.
Good evening. My name is Toby. Thank you very much. And I'm quite happy to be here. But I don't know, it's a Nigerian thinking, but you forgive me. I just want to ask a question. Could your, maybe the interest that the professor that you contacted, I don't know, out of creating maybe that flow, did it influence the graduate school? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Like this demand for GRE, demand for this, demand for that, and then maybe there are some of these things you don't have yet or something. Could the interest, like the kind of flow, and then maybe this person gets so interested in what that in any way influence the demand of the school? I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. And then some I also
I'm not sure I got the question. Maybe you got it, but I'm not sure I got. Maybe you can just rephrase it. Then
like from what Scholar Moji was saying, she was basically trying to say like there are two fronts in which you are going to be reaching out. One is trying to contact the professor. One is also reaching out to the grad school. I don't know if I mean. But
yeah, that's correct.
I was now saying that in reaching out to the professor, I'm looking at maybe the professor gets so interested in what you want to do in the project, and then you've really researched into his work and all of that. I'm now saying that not having some of these requirements, could the relationship or the interest of the professor override in any sense the demands of the grads? You get my question now?
Yeah, I think I got that. Moji, can you answer?
Well, it's possible. I have friends that it happened with. That is very possible. So basically, some schools will tell you explicitly that you shouldn't reach out to anyone. And even if you reach out to anyone, it doesn't matter. Some schools won't say anything. Some schools will tell you that the admission decision starts from the department. When the department accepts you, then the grad school will accept you. So different things go for different schools. Sometimes it can create a rapport with the faculty so much that the faculty is already so interested in you. Whether you write GRE and you score 260, that's the minimum you can have. You score 260. That means you did not do anything in your GRE. It doesn't change anything. You submit all that is needed. You are in already. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, thank you so much. Peter, I'm going to unmute you now to ask a question.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir. And thank you, Scholar Sam and Scholar Moji, for the presentation. Okay, my question has already been answered by Scholar Sam during the presentation, but I would like to ask for my friends that joined the meeting late. So what can undergraduate students and those in their final year, let's say those in their final year, do now to increase their chances of being awarded a scholarship in the United States? Aside just building your CGPA that we do here about, what can we do right now to increase our chances, because there are undergraduates in the meeting too? Thank you.
Peter, thank you very much. Very good, very good question, honestly. Okay, so what I would say is undergraduates, increasing your chances. On the scholarship part of it, there are opportunities, scholarship for undergraduates. Some schools have fully funded scholarship, tuition waiver, all those kind of packages for them. But in terms of what can you do at a personal level, now, let's assume, Peter, let's say you're in 500 level, you're about rounding off. Let me assume you're in engineering now, and you are doing your final year project. Apologies, I'm saying engineering properly, but let's assume you are that, and you are wrapping up your final year project now. And maybe during that, because of your project, you had the opportunity to work with a range of tools. Let me say, I know because I did electrical electronics in my background. Maybe you are working with things like Arduino, MATLAB, G Suite, all type Pro Tools, all those tools. I would say try and get closer to those tools. If there's any word like that, hands-on. You might not know it that deep, even though it is C programming, Java, JavaScript, or Python automation. You might not know it that deep. Sorry, I'm just speaking the technical line now. I know Prof. Moji and all of them, they have their own areas and things that relate to them. So in skill building, focus on skill building. The tech environment, I know health, medical, accounting, it varies for them, but try and develop research skills, technical skills, how to write a paper, all those basic things. Let's be honest. Now, I'll drop all protocols now. In Nigeria, basically our universities, I'm being honest, they don't teach us those things. You don't have a clue of how to write a research paper from abstract to methodology to introduction to research, discussion tools, experiment, conclusion, how to do inside texting, APA style, all those things. You are not being taught all those rudiments. But when you come here, those things are king. You must know those things. So an undergraduate student, let's assume your school are not teaching all those things. Try and expose yourself to those things. Gather skills. If you check my slide the other time, I gave a lot of links and play whereby you can develop. LinkedIn Learning is there. Little by little, you might be an undergrad student. Go on your LinkedIn, just type, oh, I did this design in this, and I got this outcome. Put it there on your LinkedIn. There is no useless experience. There is no careless skill. Everything counts towards something. For example, if you do an interview with Google, for example, I was privileged to have one sometimes last year. The young man wasn't asking me if I had a 4.5 or a 10.2. He just asked me, okay, Sam, you say you were in an IT department. Now tell me if I connect the laptop to this IP address and I subnet to this, what will happen from the host to the deal? He was just testing my knowledge. He didn't care whatever I was doing. I had to provide the answer to him stepwise. This is how it goes and stuff like that. So you're an undergrad, those skills hang around. Don't your final year. If there are people on this platform, you've not done your final year project, you will have a very good opportunity to do all those things. So focus on that is very, very important and holistically to really help. So leverage with your friends, leverage with professors, get the skills, get everything involved, and it will help to balance up. I don't know if Prof. Luatui or Scholar Moji has something to add as well. Thank you.
That was great. I would unmute Favor now. Favor Akinlabi.
I'm sorry for the background noise.
Favor, you can unmute. We can hear you currently. Maybe you need to speak louder or something. No.
Yeah, I'm so good with those. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So my question goes, I want to ask that, okay, you said earlier that the first thing that we should do first is for looking for schools first. So my question is, looking for schools at first, so how am I going to know that this school offers scholarship? And secondly, to my question is, she said in most school over there at US, like you can study PhD first. And we know here in Nigeria, you have to study master before PhD. So I'm kind of confused. Like, is that the proper way, or that's just the way they are doing it over there, and here is different? So that's my question. Thank you.
I think she would answer you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Okay, so here in the US, you can decide to do a master's first, and then proceed to PhD. Also, you could go straight for a PhD without doing a master's, because in the long run, you are going to do your master's within the PhD. That's how it's done. So for instance, if your PhD program is, let's say, 5 years in the US, in the first 1.5 or 2 years, you actually already have met the requirement for a master's degree. So you could decide to tell them, okay, so I want my master's degree and I'm still going to go on the PhD, or, well, it doesn't matter, I'm going to finish the PhD and I have my PhD. After all, the PhD supersedes master's program. That's that for that. So it's not compulsory that you have you have to get a master's first, then you go for a PhD. It's not compulsory. It's based on whatever you want. If you want to get a master's degree first before you go for PhD, if you don't want to do that, you can go straight. We have a lot of people doing that. So that's for the second question you asked. Then for the first question, you I think you said something about searching for schools. How do you know if they have scholarship for you or not? Now, when you have a list of schools you probably have searched for using the some of the criteria I gave. You have a list of schools that have your program that you are interested in. The next thing you want to do is check if they have funds for graduate students. Now, they usually put that on their websites. You just have to look for it. You have to look for where it's stated. Different schools have different way they build their website and all. You have to look for where they stated it about usually they say something about assistantship. It could be in form of graduate assistantship. It could be in form of teaching assistantship. It could be in form of research assistantship. They will usually state it somewhere on their websites. Now, if it's not stated anywhere, you are sure it's not stated anywhere, you might have to ask them. Just ask them if they support their students in any way. Some schools will tell you that as long as you get admitted into the program, you are fine. You're going to get a form of assistantship. Some schools will say that on their website. Some schools will tell you that assistantship is not guaranteed. It depends on some other things they look at again. Some schools will tell you if that's the case. So depending on different schools. So you have to watch out for that when you are checking the school. When you have the list of schools, you want to watch out for that. If it is assistantship or no, you know that, okay, this school, did they have assistantship? Yes, they do. Leave the school. If they don't have, you strike the school out, move to the next school. So that's just it. You have to look out for that. If you can't find it, you can ask them. Ask the graduate coordinator how they support their students, and you find out that. Thank you.
Just to add to what she said something very, very key. So a lot of universities, they construct their websites in some very difficult way. So you want to locate the assistantship, but I've noticed one thing that is always a constant. They always have a fixed search bar, either at the top right corner or the top left corner. So if you go to that bar, so at times that's what I do. So if I see a school, this school looks really, really cool. Okay, I just go to that bar, graduate assistantship. It gives you a directory, you just follow. So that's another faster way to navigate websites. You are looking for the directory of faculty. You are looking for the graduate coordinators. If you don't want to go up to the tussle of checking all the graduate lists, that search tab is really handy. It takes you anywhere around that website. Whatever is in that website, you key it and you put that entry, you're going to get it out of that website and you can pick it up from there. Thank you, Scholar Muji.
Thank you so much. I think that they've done a very great justice to this question. Then there's someone that asks in the chat box. I'm going to ask some questions now from the chat box. I will take it from the bottom up kind of. So a master's degree acquired from approved universities in Nigeria reckoned with for higher degrees internationally. I think that's just a yes question. But it's just so straightforward. Nigerians really, if you don't know, they respect Nigerian degrees so much anywhere around the world. Like so much. So, but I don't know if you want to say anything to that, Sam or Moji.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Prof. Tui. It's just a yes, yeah. BSc, Master's.
It's just, we won't be here today.
The very essence, exactly, I was about to say that. The very essence why we're here, because I didn't even go to all the big, it's not like Scholar Moji now or Prof. Tui, they went to all the FUTA, all the Unilag, UI. I went to Osun State University. I'm proud of my uni, and I have all my Uni Osun folks online here. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are awesome. Uni Osun is fantastic. Great university, and so we're there, and God made the way.
So it has nothing to do with your school. It has nothing to do with your school. All right. So someone also is asking, like, this is just a general question, like, how much CGPA is required for scholarship in the US, and how can people with low CGPA increase their chances? I know that people with fast CGPA.
Fast, yeah.
Okay, so let's have and Sam to Chuck and drop.
Okay, so do you want me to go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so basically, what we call scholarship in this sense, it's not just your CGPA. So these guys take a look at everything you have to offer, not just your CGPA. So you can have a first class and probably you wrote your personal statement and you're not bringing in any value whatsoever. You just have your first class. When you look at your CV, you don't have any experience, you didn't do anything. Of course, that's not a good sign at all. And they might have someone with a 2-2 that has gone into a lot of things, has delved into different projects and research and all, writes the personal statement. Most likely they will pick that person over the one that has just the first class, because the first class without any other, you have nothing else to offer aside the first class. They are not so sure of what you can do. It brings in a little bit of doubt about you. So it's not just about the first class. So you can have a 2-2 in as much as you have added so much value, you made yourself more valuable. Like Scholar Samuel said, most of the things he mentioned, those are the things that you can use to make yourself more valuable, so that your CGPA really doesn't matter at that point. You can get to a point where you even finish with a third class, but you've added so much value to yourself that even a first class cannot boast of, and you're good to go. So it really doesn't. It's not the
only criteria.
It's not the only criteria. They look at they look at all of these things all together. They look at the GRE. They look at all of these things all together. So I hope.
So it's an holistic application. It's an holistic process where they check everything. However, they are not discrediting first class. Okay. So for those of you who are undergrads, that you still have the chance, make first class. That's the best way, you understand, to hit it and to get it running. If you have a first class and you have other pedigrees and skills that people also have, they would place you ahead of them because of your first class. So if you can still make first class, please go for it and have it. Then get other skills. Don't just be one-sided, okay? So that would just balance things up in the end. Then someone was asking if people that want to go for PhD straight, if there's any minimum CGPA they need to have. Like I know from my own end, most of the people I know that have gotten PhD straight, they are first class graduates. I don't know if Moji will know otherwise, but most times first class graduates, it's good you have very high CGPA and some other skills for you to get a PhD straight. But it might be possible for you also, but the chances are kind of slimmer.
So if you can have a first class, good enough. That's probably the best thing that can happen to you for you to finish the first class. If you finish with a 2-2, it's possible. I have friends with 2-1 rather. I have friends with 2-1 that got into a PhD program straight. I don't know of 2-2. I don't know if it's possible, but like I said, whatever you are bringing to the table really matters. If you finish with a 2-2, you have a wonderful GRE score. You have a lot of projects you've been involved in. You are much more valuable, or you have a lot of skill to present on the table. I don't think anyone will refuse you. And of course, you shoot for the right school. Now, some schools are not right for you. Not all schools are right for everyone. Don't shoot for the schools that, well, I don't know what kind of student they take, but there are some schools that you can tell that this is not my place. Go for where you should be. That's one of the importance of using the LinkedIn to look for schools. Now, when you check on LinkedIn and you check a particular school you probably want to apply to, and you cannot find any Nigerian in your department. 1, 2, when you look at the profile of people you find in that department, you can see that these people are so high up there and all. Just carry yourself back to where your level is to another school. Yeah. So 2 first class, 2-1, good, 2-2, it just makes the chances slimmer. And as far as you have other things to bring to the table, you're good to go. You can do a PhD straight with just a bachelor's degree.
Yeah, to add to what Scholar Moji said, she mentioned something very critical point. She was like, you see a school, for example, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, MIT, you see their profile, so huge. If you looked at LinkedIn, as she said, you will see Nigerians are remarkable. What they are doing here in the US across, it's outstanding. Even our university here, once they are doing anything, they give Nigerians that kind of special preference and things like that. We have lots of Nigerians here. So, but to balance it out, it doesn't mean you can't shoot for the stars. It doesn't mean you cannot be an MIT graduate, an Harvard product, Princeton. It doesn't mean you can't be. But she mentioned something during her presentation. Rank the schools. Okay, you see 2 first school, pick. Medium rank school, pick. A little bit lower school, pick. Apply to all of them. Don't just stack yourself on those ones at a stretch and things like that. So just in general. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. There's rate of acceptance for each schools. So please, you need to check that out as well. I'm trying to check for the other questions. Okay. All right, so let me just go to the new questions. The questions I say I'd like to ask how to go about applying for scholarship that makes provision for travels with or for someone with a family. Thanks. I think US scholarship is the best for you if you actually want to travel with your family, because there is the F2 visa that is solely for your wife and for your children. Like if I'm married now, it's easy for me to bring my my wife and my kids over. So US scholarship is always the best for such things. I think even in Europe most of those scholarships are restricted to you alone. If you are bringing your family on your own. But of course, here too, you are still on your own anyway. It's from your scholarship that you will still fend for except if your wife also probably has a scholarship, or something. But you know how to plan best for that. And it's easy to probably maybe get something doing afterwards. I don't know. I think Ian should probably have something to say about that because you know someone who did that. Let me just ask the second question the person was asking. I'd like to ask. Please let me just be sure. Okay, I think that's it. Then somebody was asking, does study gap count or relevant work experience? Yes. Because like Scholar Moji was saying the other time, I just remembered I know someone who got PhD straight bachelor's, but the thing was that she had a work experience, I think in an oil and gas Nigeria. She had series of work experience. So getting PhD straight was quite easy because of that. Those are the skills we're also talking about. If you have great work experience, that's perfect. As long as it's aligned with what you want to do over there for your PhD or for your master's, as the case may be. I don't know if you both have something to say about that. Do you have something to say?
Yes, you're right, sir.
Okay, so then there's another question. He said, please can our scholars throw light on visa application process itself? Okay, I understand that there's a chance of visa refusal even when granted a scholarship. What are the tips to be considered for visa? I think it is both of them that can answer. I got my visa from Hungary. It was a swift process when you are coming from Europe or from where you are coming from Africa. Come on. So they would answer your question. All right. We can't hear you.
Okay, do you want me to go ahead, sir?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Okay. Well, it's a long process, but in a nutshell, maybe later on when the slides are shared, I shared some links as well, USA states. That's why I emphasize about webinars whereby all these consulars, diplomats, they come online, and those webinars are not restricted to US citizens alone. Wherever you are in the world, just click those webinars, attend, just listen to what they are saying. When I was preparing for my own as well, I just prepared a folder on my laptop. I went on YouTube. Every video you can think of preparing on a US visa, interview, one-on-one, I was just downloading them serially. So anytime I know I'm done at work, I get home, I just open, I just keep watching. And there's something with watching. In my mind, yes, I was praying, I'm a child of God, favor of God, everything, I go there and all, but I got the information I needed. So basically, the US website, there's a place there whereby you want to get your visa, you go to the bank, you pay an amount of money. I think now it's about 160 USD, if I'm quite accurate, they've not changed the figure, maybe about 160. You make the fee payment, the GT Bank, they give you a slip, it has a pin on it. On that pin, you go back to the website, it's called DS160 form. You fill out all your biodata stuff, your school, everything, work experience. They ask you a lot of information. Then you book your data interview slot with that slip. You key in some information. They give you a regular date. If the date is late, if it is closed, there's what we call expedited application or emergency application, whereby maybe based on, your school is resuming next week. You have booked everything. A consul like Joe, school me next week. School USC. You can do emergency, they approve it. They could give you the slot tomorrow, come and interview tomorrow. Then you go there, they ask you questions. Now, those questions, preparing for those questions is another entire talk entirely. There are many things consular are looking for: funding, intent to immigrate, intent not to jackpot. So if your intent to jackpot is all those factors and all, they look at that, your funding, everything. It's another talk for another day, but that's the basic. That's just in a short while. The form, you fill it, you get the form, interview date, you go there, they ask you questions, you answer. When I did mine as well, God being so good, I don't even know how many questions. It was in Lagos VI Consulate. Lady was there. She just took my passport, flipped it through, blah, 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 blah. All right. Oh, I see you've traveled before. okay, what did you go there to do? Blah, 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 things like that. What did you say you were, what job did you say you were doing in Nigeria? What was your role? I asked her, what you say you were doing? I told her, I said, okay, thank you very much, Mr. Samuel. I'll be approving your visa, come 3 days,
Awesome.
pick up your passport,
Glory.
and stuff like that. So Scholar Moji as well, it's always like that, but there are preparations around it. On our Telegram page, I know all of our scholars here and professors, Yanu, all of them, they will paste links. There are YouTube videos I have them on my hard drive. We could share some of them, a lot of them that could prepare you. And more importantly, those webinars, usa.gov, those federal websites, watch those webinars, enter those seminars, plug in yourself, listen to what they are saying, know what a counselor wants to hear, know what they are looking for, the factors they are looking for, and prep. And above all, trust God. Pray, trust God for favor, go there and do your very best. You will be scared. You will be jittery. It's normal. I was like that when I got in there. I was just Holy Ghost. Today's the day. Today's the day. You pray the Holy Ghost for like before they get to your line. But trust God for favor, pray, and do your due diligence. Combine that with it, and you're up to go. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, that was perfect. I would have Adedeji Joseph to ask his question.
Okay, thank you so much. I've been impacted with so much information here. So my question goes thus. I actually got in touch with an information in school, that's precisely Osun State University. So I want to ask if I would have more light shed on talking about the collaboration of the school with the school over there. Is there anything that you can do? Because much to it is when they have collaboration, there's a bonding. How can you dodge, like in the sense, you don't want that bonding to hold you down here. So what can you do in order to, yes, the collaboration would make the intimacy between the two schools to be very, very important. So can you just have a pathway of you escaping that bonding in order for you to secure your own admission there without a bonding? Thank you.
Though your question is not straightforward so much.
Okay, let me make it straightforward.
Sure,
I have an opportunity of going through to the university in Harvard because there's a bonding with it in Union. But there is a bonding there that after your education, you come back
to Nigeria.
And
you don't want to come back.
Exactly.
Okay.
So what can I do?
The question is clear. I'm thinking you're a DC member, so maybe Daddy will supply understanding on that. But what I can say about memorandum of understanding between schools, going over there with a bonding, I would say just respect the agreements and just return back to Nigeria, because it can eventually. There are people that go on a memorandum of understanding like that and they don't get to return, but it always doesn't. It's not a good mark on them, or it's kind of represent. It gives them. It paints a different picture of who they are. Of course, because you see that there are some people that it's because of their siblings. That's why they keep getting rejection at the visa board. Because when your siblings have traveled out before, maybe based on different means, and they didn't return back, and maybe they don't have citizenship, all those things, but they are still staying. Or sometimes they're tracking your family journey. That's why you will write all the people that are in the US from your lineage. You write them when you're applying for visa. Some of those things, they check them out. So if there's an agreement, you could apply on your own to different schools if that's what you think will work. But Harvard, I believe Harvard is a top-notch school. If there is such bond, just take the offer and gladly return back to Nigeria. There will always be opportunity for you to travel out. But that's from my own perspective. There are people that they are over there in Nigeria. They can come to the US anytime they decide to. They've made that mark like their life are making such mark that could make them travel. Then if this night, now this about 10 o'clock over there, if they say, oh, or maybe about 11, if they say, oh, I want to travel out to the US, no one is going to stop them because they've made such mark. Like their lives are impactful so much, they are making so much impact all over the world. Okay, so there are people that would be over there and they would be making impact all across the world, and they can travel as much as they like, but not necessarily settling down over here. But you just have to weigh your options. But my advice would be you should take such offer and return back to Nigeria to impact your country as well. But I believe they would have a lot of things to say as touching that. Scholar Sam and would you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think Prof. Tui, I think I just add to what you said. Bottom line, I think just in a short word he said is, what do you want? What do you want? What works for you? If I know the real deal is that most time we want to travel out, we want to remain there. Don't want to come back, things like that, and being honest. So you just have to just ask yourself, like within, what do you want? So if this bond, Prof. Joseph, because I know he's a professor, I know him, Prof. Joseph. So if that bond, you feel, this bond will hold me down, things like I'll come back, you can reroute on your own, as Prof. Chui said, get your own admission, get your own path, walk your own way, and go on your own. So bottom line, what do you want, Prof. Joseph? Conclude on what you want, make up your mind, and go in that route. But if you see yourself that, I still see myself coming back to Nigeria to do something, to impact, to build up something, then maybe you can go with the other bond. So but what works for you and what you want is most important. That will determine your decision in the long run. Thank you.
Great. I don't know. I'm not sure Jan is still on the call anyway, but that's okay. Let me see if Olumu, I think Olumu, you asked question before. Does you still want to ask question? You can unmute if you still want to.
Yes, I still have another question. I had a lot of questions, but then those questions have been answered like step by step. But there's still one I am not clear about, and I do like clarification on. Yeah. Sometime ago, I was also talking to one of those guys that actually traveled abroad, that's good over there. So he was telling me about a process, like at a point, they will be expecting a kind of amount of money in your account. Like you should actually own a kind of amount of money before maybe during the process of your visa or something. I really can't really do it. But
I get that question.
Did you get that? Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. So the way that works is this. It's two-way. Your funding on there's what we call the I-20. That's what you will get immediately when you get a scholarship over here in the US. So on your I-20, there are two ways: your expenses, your tuition, and some other things, and your scholarship. So your scholarship funding should be higher than your expenses, your estimated expenses, and other things like that. In my case, my funding and scholarship was higher, so I didn't need to add a dime from my account to it. But in some universities, maybe mostly for master students, it's always like that. The fundings are not balanced. So you are adding that funding, you are adding that money, not because you would use it, but you are just putting it in your bank account. They won't, it's just for you to show them that you have the funding to balance, to augment what you have on your I-20. So you could afford to get that from friends and families, and eventually you will refund them. But your funding, the actual sense, when you get over here, will cover up everything, except in some cases, maybe your tuition is just 50%. In some schools, it's like that, 50%. But I would always advise to get 100% tuition off, then so that you also be getting your funding. What some people do with 50% tuition is their stipend is what they use to augment the 50% tuition, and they will find a way around doing other things to augment their stay over here. But aim to get full funding, because I know 100%. This because I got a scholarship at UGA, and UGA actually the funding were not balanced. Maybe I still needed to add maybe about $4,000 or something. But that doesn't mean that my funding was a full funding, but it wasn't balanced because sometimes they always shoot too high. They can say your living expenses is something, but whereas it's not that. So they want to shoot very high so that they'll be sure when you get over here, you're not stranded. That's what they are after, because they don't want you to be a burden to the United States
to the country, I get it. Okay.
So they just want to be sure you have all the funding that you need to survive over here in the United States. All right, so I think that's okay. Then the last one, what are the steps that I need to take if I want to further my final year project research abroad? Okay, maybe I should repeat the question that the person is asking. So what are the steps I need if I want to further my final year project research abroad?
Does Rossam want to go for that?
Okay. So let me assume I get you. So maybe you have this project you are working on, and you think, oh, this project is Tesla level project. Elon Musk might even love it, and it's something that is a great big idea and stuff like that. Well, what I would say is align it. I just want to be sure I'm really getting you. You have a project and you want to extend it further it abroad. You could further that through schooling. Maybe if you say, go for a master's degree or go for a PhD, whereby you can further delve deep into that research, build it up, learn more about it, write some couple of papers about it, some publications around it, and things like that. So I think that's one way, because whether you like it or not, even though if you have your idea, something must carry you from Niger to US. Abi, something must bring you in. If something is not bringing you in, maybe you got a job and an employer is filing from you from the US, H1B, is either academics F1 or it is exchange visitor J1, or something must bring you physically to the US to extend that your idea. So whatever you have, education is a leverage. Come, get admission, do something, get into university and start working with your research. Check schools. Okay, this research I'm doing, what course, what professor can work with that, harmonize it, come over here, you are on ground in person. Ahead of this, recently, if you spend some time on the USCIS websites, USCIS, United States Citizen and Immigration Services websites, is what they call different category of green card filing. They say EB1, EB2, EB3. EB1 category are those with special ability. So assuming, I'm using Elon Musk because it's popular. Assuming you're an Elon, you did one groundbreaking research, or you're Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, you did one groundbreaking research. You can file a petition to the USCIS. You have an incredible award. You won the Oscar. You won the Nobel laureate. They can give you a US green card straight up, and you become a citizen from there on. Do you understand? So you are in Nigeria, come in, get academic stuff, leverage on your research, delve deeper, write some papers, present, come up, and you can become a scholar, and you become someone notable, and that can pick you up from there. So that's the broader idea from the angle I get your question, Sam. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Moji has anything to say about that, but okay. Do you have something about it? Okay. All right. So we'll kind of stop on this notes tonight. Then I kind of, the questions that just came in, I dropped it on the Telegram page. Then other people that maybe you still have questions, just feel free to drop your questions on the Telegram page. And of course, the scholars, Sam and Moji, both of them on the page as well. They would kind of still respond to you in the next 2 days before, because US is hard work actually. When work starts, you don't have time to respond to many things. But they will still sacrifice maybe 1 or 2 days. So if you have your questions, just feel free to post it on the Telegram page. I sent in the questions that just came in now, because our plan is just to spend an hour, but we are kind of over that, and we need to get into other things now. And so I want to appreciate the scholars. They are actually wonderful people. It's a privilege. I've known Bros Sam for a very long time now, and it's been amazing person. And I think I know Sister Mojisola for a long time also, because he's been part of our scholarship webinar too in time past. And so I was really so excited when she got the scholarship. So both of them are friends and amazing people, scholars, people that I'm also opportune to learn from. So I'm still willing to learn from them every now and then, because they are very sound and brilliant and profound and phenomenal as well. So it's a privilege to have them on board on Productive Mind. And one thing I always say when I'm ending things like that is that you might be attending the webinar tonight, and you might be the next person that will be invited to come and speak to us, because that's actually the joy of it. Like I always say, like I and Ian, when we started this webinar, we don't have scholarship ourselves, but now, to God be the glory, we've had different scholarships at different times. So it could be you as well. So we always, would send a link. Better still, that'll be on the Telegram just to get feedback from you. We'd also post on the YouTube link as well, the webinar, the full. I kind of split it into two, maybe the Q&A session. I would crop out Bro Sam's session, then Sister Moji. I think both sessions are probably outstanding, and there are stuffs that posterity will still see them and be grateful that who are these scholars, where are they from? So we'll definitely share them on the YouTube as well. Then you'll get all the details on Telegram. So then feel free to ask any question. If you need to review your motivation letter, personal statement, ask on Telegram page. We're more than willing to help you. They are all more than willing to help you as well. So we are one big family. The motivation is that we all do great. Okay, so we want others to also do great. So we want to raise giants. People will get out there and they are sure that somebody impacted them. You know, I think it was about Esteem that if I had climbed any height, it is because I was standing on the shoulders of the giants. So that's one thing that would help you, standing on the giants' shoulders, which they are. So you will see farther when you stand on the giant's shoulders. Okay, so thank you so much. And also I should thank people that kind of organized, that they were the people organizing the event, because I was just behind the scenes. So Dr. Temi Folayon, then we have Scholar Laemi, Scholar Peter Valerian, Scholar Emmanuel. So they did all the work. They kind of pushed the work to me today. Appreciate for giving them. All right. So on this note, we'll be ending. So I want everyone to come on video. Please, please, please come on video, so that we can just take a screenshot of ourselves. I know that it's probably late for many people, but if you can come on video, that would be great. Then we would just spotlight everyone. Then we'll take this. Okay, so everybody just do to come on video if you can. Then we just screenshot. I know that I've done that once, so I'm going to do it again. Okay, guys, tell me. Allah, me has disappeared, right? Oh, I muted their video. My goodness. I'm sorry. So I just you can start video now. Oh, great. So nice to see everyone. Who else is coming up? Awesome. Okay, so we hope to see everyone of you in the US. I and Sam, we are ready to welcome you in a very, very grandiose way. Okay, so all right. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. So I have that already, and thanks so much. Thanks so much to our scholars, Scholar Sam and Scholar Moji. So it's nice having you on board. All right, bye guys. So see you on the page. Feel free to join the Telegram page if you've not. Then
So you guys take care. Bye.